Welcome to The Notice, a podcast from Otava with hosts TJ Howski and Melissa Locke.
Hi, and welcome back to The Notice. I'm Melissa Locke, Chief of Culture and Talent Development, and I have with me here TJ.
Hey.
Hi.
Well, I think we just stay with your title. Like that works, right? So I'm TJ Howski, Chief Executive Officer. So thanks for coming back and spending time with us. But we're excited to what is this, episode 3?
3, I know. Already.
That's it.
Third time's a charm. Surely we'll do this one well.
Right. A few less edits for Cassidy, maybe? That's awesome. So what have you been up to? You're on the road, and I know that's what we're going to talk a little bit about, but you're on the road. People wouldn't know that because technology is amazing. Right. But so what's going on?
Yeah, so I am in Ann Arbor this week, and I had my first on the road again client meeting this week on Monday, and I really enjoyed it. You know, getting to know the humans behind the businesses we serve. It's fun. And I'll tell you, I learned all the important stuff. The individual got married last year. He has 2 dogs, loves ice cream, remodeled 2 homes back to their original architecture for the 1920s. I know where he went on his honeymoon, and I know where they plan their next trip to someplace tropical. So that's all the important stuff, right?
That is awesome. Well, he very quickly ended up on your friend list, right? Because he has dogs, not cats.
That's right. That is right.
That would have been the fastest meeting ever. I love cats. Well, have a nice day.
I do discriminate based on whether you like cats or dogs. And who I am.
It is awesome, though, right? Getting to spend time with people and connect and, like meet the person first before you talk about the business or anything else.
That's right. Yes. I enjoyed it. And, the business, of course, I mean, that's our bread and butter, and it's important to what we do, but I like understanding the humans that are behind it. I'm in people and culture, and I want to know everything about everyone.
Yep. Well, so give me your perspective, because I actually like it. We'll flip it a little bit from kind of what we were going to talk about in order, but it's easy for a CEO to say why they would want to go out and do relationship development. And, whether it's the chief revenue officer or sales or operations, but it's not very common, which is one of the things you and I talked about, that the person that leads your people and culture within Otava is out talking to customers that are buying services from Otava. Like, why don't you talk a little bit about why we chose and why you said, hey, I want to participate?
Yeah, well, I think it showed up in the meeting, actually, in the results. When we were at the recap, the meeting after the meeting, when you're like, oh, that was interesting to learn this and that. And I listed off all of these things, and the salesperson I was with, he goes, I don't remember any of that. So it's just a different, he's listening for, things that would be tied to technology and how we could better serve and find solutions. And I'm listening just to who you are as a human. And those combined are really valuable.
Yep. And to those that are listening, whether you're internal, external, evaluating, stalking, whatever the case might be, right? As we talked about this, that was a big purpose, right? As we really focused on, we want to be more customer centric organization. We want to shift in what is largely a red ocean amongst like a competitive landscape. We wanted a blue ocean approach. If you haven't read those books, read Blue Ocean Strategy, right? Yeah. And one of our specific takeaways was, I think that folks struggle with understanding you can have a relationship that never leads to a transaction. Right?
It's true.
Right. And so the focus was, let's get out there and show you how to build relationships, get to know people. If you get to know people, you can solve real problems instead of what you perceive could be future transactions, right? And ultimately, it all balances itself out. But I think we're getting the outcomes that we wanted and getting meaningful conversations going. And it's awesome. So I love it.
Yeah. And keeping those notes. So like I envision Otava sending this individual a card on his anniversary with a gift card for ice cream. Like, that's how you make a difference, I feel like, and you make an impact, and that's how you develop relationships, and you see people for who they are. That I think that would be that is the change in engagement that we are pushing toward here at Otava, changing in the way we engage, and then the results that we're getting from that.
100%. I know one of our upcoming episodes, we were trying to squeeze it in this time, and just timing calendars was to introduce our vice president over experience, which is Cindy Lyon.
Right.
And I know that this, warms her heart to hear us talking about this right now, right? But the feedback that you get from a customer, to be able to feed that into your customer relationship management system and process, again, it isn't about, I know you so I can sell you. It's, I know you so that you can trust me. And hopefully you trust us, we trust you. And we build a meaningful relationship that we solve problems together, because that's what this is entirely about, is, getting to know folks. And so I love it. I think it's fantastic. I appreciate that you're out there, meeting people. And I hope that folks understand the value that they're getting and getting to spend time with you. Right. And so it's really, really fun. Not very often you say like, hey, we're going to have a meeting with HR and you're a customer.
I'm less intimidating when I don't walk in with a notepad and a pen,
Right. I think it's fantastic. So, well, today we're going to talk about time management, right? And balancing. And we were thinking through topics and how we want to, add value. That's one of the number one focus for the notice. And a lot of times you and I have similar conversations, not only together, but with others, about just time management. And the timing of this is really relevant when you think you're on the road on and off for the next 3 to 4 weeks. I'm on the road on and off for the next 6 weeks. I've been on the road, for the last 2 months. And so time management it's challenging, it's relevant, and it makes a meaningful impact if folks can do it well. Right?
That's right. So before we get into that, I want to talk to you about what you're reading right now.
Yeah. I love reading.
You're always reading, I know. So I want to know what you're reading right now.
Yeah. If you didn't know this, did you know the average CEO reads 3 books a month? Right? The average CEO reads 3 books a month. You know that the average person reads 0? Isn't that nuts? The average person reads 0.
Are you counting, does an audiobook not, if you listen on Audible, does that not count? Or
Yeah. I personally think it counts, because you have to consume what works for you. Okay. But I think that this particular study, when I was reading it, they were talking about paper books, right?
Okay.
Which dates me, because, most people read Kindle now. Right? By the way, that's a plug for Kindle if you want to sponsor us.
That's right. Our first sponsor, Kindle.
Our first sponsor, Kindle. I mean, they could shed a penny or two. Right? Sure. Come on. Answer to your question. So I have a handful of books that I read. And some of them I cycle in on a regular basis 2 times a year, just because I want to stay fresh on them. They're relevant. Then I have books that I read for my personal belief system, right? So just as I look and study, for me, that's, the Bible. And then I have those books that I just read because other people recommend them. So right now I'm rereading again. I can't remember how many times I've done this now. John Maxwell's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. I have found that in the last 2 months in the new role, it was good to go back and remind myself of just the foundation of the areas of leadership to focus on. And, as I'm connecting with people, some of them for the first time from this new role, it was a great opportunity to connect in common language and recommend a book that I personally believe in that could add value. So 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Again, John Maxwell, if you want to be our second sponsor, we appreciate that.
Well, speaking of John Maxwell, I just did a training this week with Mary Lou, who's people and culture over our broadband companies, and on the 5 levels of leadership. And we talked about relationships and how that's kind of the foundation to trust, which kind of ties back to what we're doing with our clients. And so really, that relationship ties into everything that we do, being a leader, managing folks, and getting to know your clients. Yeah, engaging clients.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Everything rises and falls on leadership, right?
That's right.
Let's hear some people props.
All right. Well, Mo, it's your favorite time. I mean, I know it's our favorite time, but people are your jam, right? More than anything else. And you love it. And so, it's like Austin getting into finance. If he didn't like math, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't be there. If you didn't love people, you wouldn't be in people and culture, right? Yes. So we are going to celebrate with people props. What you got?
I have a good one. And that actually is from just yesterday. So Eric Miner is one of our Otava employees, and he works in the finance department, and he handles a lot of our procurement and kind of vendor relationships. He's multi-talented. He actually is the voiceover for the intro to this podcast. He has lots of skills. But he also delivers our mic drop moments at our all employee meetings. And so he collects them and reads them out. And these are where our customers or employees can call out other Otava employees for their service, their expertise, and just how they created a great experience or served. And he was going to miss our all employee meeting, which we call the sound check. And he, instead of skipping it, like, oh, we just don't need to call out mic drop moments this month, or handing it off to someone else and making it their burden to handle for the day, he recorded himself reading them for us. And so then it could just be played during our meeting very seamlessly, where some folks are virtual. You wouldn't even know either way. But he took the time to do that, plan ahead, and make sure that honoring our people and celebrating our people mattered, and it stayed at the forefront. And so I just appreciate him for taking that extra step to record that for us and thinking ahead, and I just appreciate him for that.
That's awesome. I love Eric Miner.
Yes.
he's awesome.
He is. He's
so
hilarious.
Way to go, Eric. That's awesome. Yeah, let's see. Similar shout out. We'll do a 2 for 1. So Rick Davis, right?
Yeah.
So Rick Davis was actually who hosted this sound check, and he played the video. But what I love about Rick is, for years that I've been here now at Otava, he has always been one of the first to raise his hand and volunteer to participate in those things above and beyond, right? His job, and largely in culture, just, wanting to serve, whether it's in sound checks or, a quick huddle, or participate in what you call huddle masters, right? And so I think that's fantastic. Also, I think Eric and Rick, if they ever wanted to leave the company and start their own podcast, they could be radio broadcasters together. Like,
I think they could. That's
That's pretty awesome. So, and funny as heck. Now, Rick does need to practice his dad jokes. So if you're listening, bud, they're okay, but I know that you can take it to the next level. So I'm counting on you. All right. But he does great. So my shout out is for Rick Davis.
Awesome. I love that.
All right. So time management. That is, it's almost a dangerous word.
It is.
Everybody says it. Nobody really knows what it means. And they're like, yeah, I get it. Time management. But let's be real. Like, the difference between success in any area of your life, whether it's first and foremost the most important, your marriage, your family, it comes down to how you manage that time and make it most meaningful, and get a return on the investment for that time, right?
That's right.
And professionally, I think I've watched people over the years get stressed out and focus on time management about just trying to be busier. And I think busy truly is a 4-letter word versus being productive. And so part of what we wanted to offer today was just probably learnings from our own mistakes, those things that we've mutually talked about, and even feedback we've received from other coaches, things that we've witnessed to be of high value in our professional life. And so talk a little bit about what that means for you, like sleep, balance of work, travel, like, professional career, not just a job. Talk to me. What you got?
So I learned this a long time ago from a woman I worked with, and she always said, scheduled time drives out unscheduled time. So if you don't control your time throughout the day, it will be filled with something. And that doesn't mean it's filled with something meaningful or important. And so it's really taking advantage of the technology we have available to us, our calendar, and blocking out time for those important projects, tasks, responsibilities, time with family, spiritual time, reading, exercise, and that you block those out first, because the rest of your time it will fill in. But at the end of the day, if you knock out those big blocks of time, the projects that have to be done, the time sensitive things, the things that matter the most, that's how you have to honor yourself and your time by blocking that out, and then being accountable to that. And at the end of the day, here's what I hear all the time is that, I just get interrupted all the time. There's someone always, needing something. There's chats, there's emails, there's phone calls, there's texts, but you have to honor your own time and hold yourself accountable to those blocks of time to get the important things done. Those other things will fill in the cracks. And at the end of the day, you will feel accomplished, less stressed, and not feel like you're just, in this, like a gerbil in the wheel, running. Like you're tired. You felt like you did a lot, but at the end of the day, you don't see the accomplishments of it. So it's really just taking that effort for yourself. Block out the time that you need. And I would say even don't forget about think time. Sometimes we're in meetings or we're doing project work, but we don't ever take the time to actually have some thought processes, and be creative and think about what we want to do and plan ahead and be strategic. That is one of those blocks of time that we need to put on our calendars too. Some companies have no meeting certain days of the week, like no meeting Friday. That's another way you could do that for yourself. Like, I'm going to block out this certain day and not have meeting because this is my head down day to do my thinking and my planning and my project work. So it's different for everyone, but it's important that whatever you set up to do, you honor it and you stick to it.
That's good stuff, Mo. Like, that's wisdom. If you don't have a journal and you don't have a pen or you don't have your phone nearby and you can thumb this, pause and do it because there's a lot of value. There was a treasure in the messaging that Melissa just gave you. So, yeah, I guess the only thing I would add to that, you prioritize what you value most, and I think that's really important that you take pause and understand that today is a gift, and you have to prepare for each day. I had a friend that used to say, you want to win the day, right? And what does it take to win the day? You have to be properly prepared. And so at the end of the day, you can only control the bookends of your day, when you wake up and when you go to bed. That's all you can control. And so what I have found in time management that really helps, especially in a role like this, where it requires you, in essence, to always be on. And I don't mean available 24/7, but I mean you're engaged when you're working. And everybody should be, but the reality is it's not always the case. And in this kind of a role, your brain is going on a lot of different things all the time, multi-threaded, to use a technical term. And you're trying to think through, like, how am I going to deliver to all these pieces? It can be very easy to become busy. So a wheel spinning in mud is not very productive. Yep. And sometimes people confuse, motion for progress, right? Mm-hmm. And you want to gain progress. And so if there's a couple of quick, simple, succinct tips, it would be start easy. If you're somebody that wakes up at the last minute of your day, and that's what you've been doing for a long time, move your clock forward 30 minutes. Yep. Just wake up 30 minutes difference. If prioritizing reading and personal growth or development is not something that is a part of your daily life, start with 10 pages every morning and 10 pages before bed, and that's it. So now you're prioritizing the bookends of when you woke up. Now you're investing in your development and you're reading 10 pages before bed, which, by the way, will shut the screen time down and allow you to get better sleep, right?
That's true. Yeah.
And that's how you start, is just the basics of it, right? But to Mo's point, in order to do all of that, it comes down to, are you scheduling that? Because if you tell yourself, I'm going to do that tonight, you'll also tell yourself, I'll try tomorrow.
Yeah, the right? Button is right there.
Right? It's so easy. So, move your phone, move your alarm clock, whatever you're using, away from within a reach. Yep. Force yourself to get out of the bed to shut off the noise, right? Yep. And then schedule the bookends, morning and night. Start there. And then the last lesson I've never heard speak enough when it comes to time management is give yourself grace to mess up. Don't give yourself permission to keep doing it. Just give yourself grace that it takes a while to change a habit, to become a new part of your lifestyle. And so you're going to have to make little steps along the way to get there. But, you want to be disciplined with your time. It'll change your life on so many different levels. And you have to make time for yourself in order to be successful in this area. So it's good stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Each day it's limited too, right? I mean, you don't get it back.
Right.
So if you can think about your day as a jar, and maybe this is an old example that's all over YouTube. You can look it up. But where, you have to put in the most important things first, the bigger rocks into a jar. And then you can pour in the sand, and then you can or the pebbles, and then you can pour in the sand, and then you can pour in the water, and how it all fills up. But if you don't put those big important things in first, they won't fit.
That's 100%. And I would say, lastly, the purpose of the notice is to add value to anybody listening, but, internal and external. And so for internal, a little bit of a different play on kind of think how I was going to present this originally. And that is, if you don't honor your time, it's impossible to honor somebody else's. So if you don't honor your time and properly prepare, you can't honor a customer's time, because that means you're not going to come properly prepared and fully understand the value that you're supposed to bring.
That's right.
And that 60 minutes of their life, they're never going to get back. Right?
That's true.
So it's incredibly important that you establish this discipline of time and being efficient with it. And ultimately what that is it's a principle of stewardship. We're called to be good stewards in life in a lot of different areas, but there is none greater than time management. And so be intentional, prioritize those things, write them down, and then make small gains. And you'll notice that over the course of time, with all these things that we're talking through here, you'll see massive dividend in your life in a lot of different ways. But time management is, I think, paramount to a life filled with different successes in personal and professional experiences. So,
yeah, very good. I see that when I do some coaching for employees, and I know those that come prepared and those that don't. And it does feel like my time is kind of wasted because they haven't done the work before the meeting. And that does leave a bad taste in your mouth when you're wanting to pour into someone and help them through a situation and they don't come prepared. So yeah, that's good. Honor your own time and others.
100%. And the last piece on this, and we transition to another fun topic related to this in terms of schedule and time management. I heard one time through John Maxwell's Academy. I went through the John Maxwell University, been a part of it for a long time. He said something that I wrote it down and it has burned into my brain now. He said that he had a principle in his meeting process that was, if you scheduled time with him, he would always give you the first meeting. And he would give you what you asked. If you asked questions, whatever you came prepared for, he was going to answer that. He wasn't going to give above and beyond. He was going to give all of himself to what you asked. If you schedule the second meeting, he'd only ask one question, which is, what did you do with the information that I gave you the first time? What he was challenging you on was, you took my time. Did you go invest it? The law of reaping and sowing, right? And if you didn't, the meeting ended. He was very direct about, I'm going to honor my time and hold you accountable to yours. So it's a really big concept. And if you can really understand it, you talk about building relationships and making a meaningful impact in the lives of people. People will remember when you treated time different than others. They experience that because the reality is most folks don't honor time, and they don't come properly prepared. And so hopefully, this message adds value to you.
And that was 3 mentions of John Maxwell. So I think that pretty much slides him in as a sponsor now. It's kind of required, right?
I think, right? And certainly if I just, info@johnmaxwell.com, maybe they'll respond to us and say, we're absolutely happy to sponsor. We're put out there. I'll wear a John Maxwell shirt, hat. Let's give it a shot.
Right.
That's good stuff.
I wish I had a book right here and I could hold it up.
I know. I just reach back, just wave it around. Peer pressure. So, all right. Well, so let's see.
All
Buzzwords. We wanted to talk about buzzwords. And one of them that I was passionate about related to scheduling and time management was artificial intelligence, generative AI.
Mm-hmm.
This is all over the place right now. It reminds me, it dates me, but iPhone 1, new sponsor if you want to. I know you just dropped your new phone. You're welcome to call us out too, Apple. But if you look at generative AI right now and compare it to the past, there's an app for that. Right back in the days, there's an app for that. Everybody was launching an app, is the gold rush of that then time. Right now, generative AI is that new conversation. But what's interesting is, I've been studying it, I'm going through a couple of graduate courses right now, narrowly focusing in on generative AI, strategically integrating that into businesses to solve problems, relationships, customer experiences. Those are the passions that I have for it. And what I'm finding is that folks are a little overwhelmed by it. They're like, I don't even know where to start. Where do I start? And so I wanted to give this as some helpful thought. We're doing this internal at Otava. It might add value to you. But if you could think about your day-to-day, kind of goes back to the time management conversation. You think about those areas that day in and day out are repetitive. What are those things that you're doing on a daily basis that, man, it would be nice to find a way to efficiently offload that? Maybe it's not the best use of your time. Then if you could slow down long enough to speed up and write those things down and identify that, that's a really great flag that says, hey, this might be a good candidate for using AI, more specifically machine learning down at the bottom end and getting involved. But my feedback to you would be, what do you do that's repetitive that by slowing down, writing that out, putting that into a tool, you could automate to free up time cycles that you could use that time to go invest in somebody else or do something different. So that's my feedback on AI. It is awesome. It is not, we're scratching the surface right now. I hope that you dig in and have as much fun with it as I am, and I'm encouraging within our organization. But that's just some thoughts on a fun shout out for a technology right now. So Mo, any thoughts?
Yeah, that's way over my head right now. Like it just like feels so new. Like how, but yeah, you've got the wheels turning. Like how could I do that? Yeah, definitely something I'll be looking into because I know I hear it everywhere and it's coming, and I need to stop and take the time to figure it out. And that's one of
Yeah.
those take the time to figure it out. I'm gonna have to put that on my calendar and block out some time to really read about it. Yeah.
Right. Take the time. There's a
Yeah.
lot of use cases. So
Yeah.
it's great. All right. Well, we wanted to talk a little bit more within Otava land, just the things that we're doing to continue to invest in people
Mhm.
and time management, work-life balance. That's an element of things that we like to bring
That's
up.
right.
So talk to me a little bit about how we've been prioritizing what we call flexible work, not just work from home, but
Mhm.
even, personal time off, and how we do that.
That's right. So this year's our first year, but we did update our paid time off policy. So previously, it's a fixed amount, so many years of service, so many days of PTO. And honoring people and putting people first, this year we went to a flexible PTO policy, which isn't unlimited PTO because we are all paid to do a job. I mean, unlimited is unrealistic. That's how you lose your
Right.
job, right? If you take unlimited PTO. There is a limit at some point, but it's not a hard, fast limit, and it's flexible, and there are, things that you have to balance. The job you have to do, the responsibilities, the tasks, the projects, those things have to have a priority, as well as, we're all human and we have things that we need to do at home and take care of our families and take care of our mental health and our, vacation and things to re-energize, all of those things. And it takes a balance. And so that's how we honor our employees, and they honor the policy, and it works. It ties back really well to our values of people first. People
Yep.
need that flexibility in their schedule. Act with integrity. So if you're honoring the policy and honoring your work, then it works great. This policy does. Be authentic. So we're all human, and there are times we might need more time off, and other times when we are head down and we're just knocking things out. And then a culture of service. If we are taking care of ourselves, we better serve others, and then we win together, which the policy is. It's a win for OTAB, and it's a win for our employees. So it's a policy that honors all of our values, which makes it make even more sense in my mind.
It's good stuff. I agree. I mean, at the end of the day, a business is run by people. And so being able to invest and continue to focus on what are ways that it's a mutual win-win, but we can add value and give the right kind of flexibility, whether it's, distributed workforce and work from home, those kinds of things, or now in this case, flexible, PTO. There's a lot of benefit to that, to a person not to feel the stress and pressure of, have I accumulated enough time for this doctor's appointment?
Right. That's right.
right. As opposed to, I can manage my time. We trust that a person can manage their time, but to Mo's point, right? It takes trust that it's mutual, and it only takes one person to take advantage of it, and then you think about it differently. So we're new in it. We're experiencing great outcomes in it. The employee feedback has been awesome. So I'm super thankful for it. I think it's awesome.
Yep, I am too, and I have heard from employees how much they appreciate it. And it also demonstrates a level of trust. Which again, going back to the foundation of relationships and how you treat people, if you don't have that trust, it's hard to value that.
Amen.
Now, for this episode's one story in 1 minute.
I got to get my stopwatch. Hang on. I got to do it.
I'm pretty succinct. It's probably going to be 27 seconds.
I know, I learned from you. But I'm going to time it anyway. All right, you ready?
Ready.
All right, Mo. This is that time. We're bringing it back. Last week, you got me with 60 seconds or less. Bring out that story. I'm ready. I got my phone. We're going to time this. let's hear a story, 60 seconds or less. Go.
Okay. Women in technology. We started an employee resource group at Schurz, and it's across all Schurz companies, broadband and cloud. And our first event was held recently, and we're just getting it started. Like we are, in kindergarten on this whole thing. But we did a panel of women from Schurz and asked them questions about how women maybe have different perspectives when it comes to technology and innovation, how women can support other women better in their career progression, and how the obstacles that women have had in growing their career. And of course, we're focusing on technology careers because it is a predominantly male industry. And the feedback was all great. The panelists, brilliant women. But what I took away from it was how much women want to support each other and help each other get to where you want to go. And the love that I just felt during that I facilitated it, and there was a panel of 3 women, and they were just so offering of helping others, offering of their time, mentoring. That was what was the biggest takeaway for me, is that if you just lean in a little bit to each other, how you can hold each other up and get to where you want to go. I don't know. I just loved it. And I'm sure this isn't like, oh, women are great and men are bad. It's not like that at all. I mean, it was just, this was a women in technology focus, and the women leaned in, and they were all very humble, and, they hated every minute of being, in the spotlight, but the wisdom that poured out of them, and the idea that they wanted to support others, that was the win for me.
That's good stuff. That's really, really good. I enjoyed watching it. It's fun to see, we talk a tremendous amount about culture. And so to see what's happening and, new groups emerging that are reinforcing culture from different perspectives, in this case, from a female perspective, I loved it. It was awesome. So you guys did great. I will be a regular consumer of that message. So I'm excited to hear more that's coming about, but that's really, really cool.
Yeah, I was happy to be a part of it.
That's your one story and one, make that 2 minutes.
All right, well, we did it. Episode 3. We're kind of cruising through. Just a quick shout out to anybody that's listening. Please like, subscribe, click the bell, tell your friends. We would really appreciate it. And we're continuing to develop content. So give us your feedback on topics that you'd love, whether it's business development, whether it's more technical in nature, the guests that you'd love to see. More feedback is better, can only get better from feedback. So we welcome that. But super excited to spend time with you today. Mo, what do we got coming up?
So we have a couple of customers lined up. Some of these customers from on the road and others that will be joining us and sharing about their businesses. And then we have Cindy Lyon, our VP of Customer Experience, who is scheduled to join us too. And she is brilliant and has a wealth of wisdom about the customer experience, and is very valuable to our organization. And you will appreciate everything she has to say. She just, the way she speaks, the information she shares, I always get value when I interact with her.
Same. That's awesome. Well, thanks so much for spending time with us again. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to sharing more, learning together. So as we always say, do a decision.
That's right.
Have a good one.
All right. See ya.